Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by Good Marketing and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
So the Gillespie Group has been breathing new life throughout Michigan with unique and inspired redevelopment projects. Here to discuss new projects and the momentum of Downtown Lansing is the founder and CEO of Gillespie Group, Pat Gillespie. Welcome back to the show, Pat. You've been on a couple times, but it's been a minute.
I have. Hopefully we've made some progress since then, so we always love being on. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, I like Lansing more and more as the years go by. I moved here in 2008. And was a little underwhelmed. Granted, it was the beginning of the recession and everything was a little dusty and nobody had money and things were stalled. But I look at what the mid-Michigan looks like now as compared to what I received when I got here in 2008, arguably from Seattle. So, fun didn't exactly hit you over the head. You couldn't park your car and spend the day in any pockets. And it's just so different now than it was just, 15, 18 years ago.
Yeah, 2006 through, COVID, beginning of COVID, really saw some great stuff. It's not Seattle. It's not Detroit. It's not Grand Rapids, but
doesn't need to be.
We are Lansing. We're our own version. Those years, we really saw some really good stuff, not rocket ship forward, but we meandered forward at a pretty good pace. Housing, restaurants, retail, office went really good. A lot of synergy with the stadium district and other things happening. COVID kind of, we hit a plateau and we've kind of just been bouncing sideways for a couple years. But what we're really bullish on is the next 4 years.
Right.
Just absolutely. We haven't been this bullish on Lansing ever. And I think the next 4 years are really going to be a different scenario here.
I'll tell you, that's refreshing to hear because I think, first of all, people just wander around doing their own lives and they either like what they see or they don't like what they see and don't really understand all of the dynamics behind doing something of significance that is fun for the user. But if you are paying attention, even just peripherally, you're going to hear tariffs. You're going to hear just even before the tariffs, like overwhelming costs. It's double what it was in 2018, and every line item on your construction list has just gone through the roof. I can't get the labor, and if I get it, it's twice the price. Every refrigerator's twice the price, plumbing's twice the price, electrical's twice the price. I mean, just everything seems to be making it harder and harder to make a project pencil financially. Is that true?
Well, you're spot on. A lot of people are talking and it swirls around a little bit. Boy, nothing's going to happen. It's too expensive. That's why we're bullish right now, is because a lot of the things already are happening. I think we plan on 21 developments downtown Lansing between different developers, from housing to new City Hall to old City Hall to Ovation, which is a performing arts center, conventional housing, affordable housing, some more entertainment, and a lot of those have already broke ground and have already started. A lot of them are with the help of state of Michigan, made some allocations. Senator Anthony really came through with some really nice allocations to Lansing to really help this momentum. So, even with all that turmoil, they're moving forward, they're breaking ground, and they'll be done. Some of them will be done in the next 24 to 36 months. So while the world is in a constant swirl right now, Lansing's going to see some stuff start and finish in the next 36 months. That's why we're excited. It's not just talk.
Right.
Things are happening, and we're hoping that $600 million or $680 million has momentum and turns into $2 billion.
Right. Success breeds success. All of a sudden you get developers who aren't maybe in the region looking up and just saying, holy, I need to be a part of that. If they're going to build this, then I can complement it with another development.
We're confident that's going to happen. People are going to start taking notice. I mean, they already are a little bit. In the last couple of years, we've added, Meijer, downtown Lansing.
Right.
Starbucks, downtown Lansing. Marriott, downtown Lansing. Those are all big names. And a lot of folks will say, boy, we want just locals. The big names don't, belong downtown. The big names breed success, and they say, wow, they took a chance and it's working.
Right.
Other people start throwing their hat in saying, we want to be part of downtown, and the momentum, should start building. And some people are taking notice. And I think in the next 12 months, when some of these things become visually, 5 stories in the air or 4 stories in the air, or they're completed, people from other parts of the world are going to start looking, saying, we've missed the boat, or we better get in there before we miss the boat.
Right.
It's moving forward. That's what happened in Grand Rapids. That's what happened in Detroit. People just kept coming to town, not just the same old developers and the same old business folks. It's other people looking to place capital and invest in a community. And we think those dollars and those efforts are going to come to Lansing once people start seeing it.
Right on. And I tell you, I gave you a little bit about my history, but I would, while they're not downtown, just the fact that Mid-Michigan has a Costco and a Whole Foods and a Trader Joe's and Chick-fil-A came, like, while these aren't the mom and pops that maybe some people need, there is a certain amount of credibility that a region being able to receive and have successful, those types of brands, in my opinion, are just like almost like flywheels of like, okay, well, if they're there, wow, think of these other brands we can get there.
None of those were here.
Right.
When you got here in 2008,
correct.
Not one of those was here, and now they're all thriving.
Exactly. And that's kind of my point, is all of a sudden, I think Lansing can kind of hold their chin up, because then that helps, some of these other smaller, places like a Sidecar Slider Bar, or Lansing Brewing Company, or some of these locally owned and operated, restaurants. And I mean, there's other stuff, High Caliber Karting over in Meridian Mall, and some of these other places that, the small businesses can thrive because there's that confidence in the financial ecosystem of the region.
You're spot on. And that's our favorite thing, is to talk to people that are transplants here, that are new in the last 10 years. They make observations like that, where some of us locals that have been here forever kind of just, we missed the boat of how much change we've seen in the last 15 years, because we're around it every day.
Yep.
But you've seen it take off, and those are the best comments to see the positivity.
Right. And so we kind of jumped into some of the meat and potatoes of this, but I mean, Gillespie Group. So what is your wheelhouse? Like, how do, just give us a very quick, for people who don't know you, what can you point to that you've done, and why was it important to you? How did you maybe get started a little bit without getting too long-winded?
Gillespie Group is based in Lansing, Michigan. We have 90 teammates, 90-ish, ever from 85 to 95, depending on the day.
Yep.
We develop real estate. We develop mostly urban, mostly brownfield sites. Brownfield means usually they're contaminated of some type, or dilapidated, or worn out and need some help. So we develop mostly in downtowns, a lot of downtown Lansing, downtown Midland, downtown Jackson. We're all over the state, everywhere from Allendale to Muskegon to Adrian, Brighton, Ionia, Portland, Charlotte. So, we've scattered all over, do a lot of apartments. The urban mixed use is where we've been in the last 10, 12 years, really focusing.
Yep.
When we say urban mixed use, we built a Meyer grocery store downtown Lansing with a hotel on top of it, a Courtyard Marriott Hotel, and apartments on top of it. That's a fun project for us to do 3 or 4 different uses that help fill a need in the community. Everything we develop, we keep in our portfolio, and we manage long-term. So we're long-term holders. We're looking forward to not just that project, but we like to stick around for 15, 20, or right now at 30 years and see the ripple effect that happens around the neighborhoods, around the projects, the developments, down the road. What other economic impact does it have? That's fun to us, not just doing the project, but seeing the positive ripples.
Right.
So that's what drives us. When you say, why do you do what you do? What do you do? On all the projects we do, we look to make money. We look to make a positive difference, yes. But we really look for the ripple effects for years to come, so that we can continue to develop in those areas. We tend to focus on, once we do an area, we don't pick up and leave. We like to kind of camp out and say, hey, let's make a difference here as long as we can.
Right. And you bring that up, and I just want to tell the listeners that what you said is not all that common. You will see big development projects be developed by someone, get occupancy, demonstrate the cash flow, and then they'll flip it. Right. And then move on to other projects. And, so you have so the person who built the entity for what the community thinks they're getting, then sometimes leaves, and you've got another entity that operates it, and whether they keep it up the same way or manage the leases as easily as you might think. And so the difference with Gillespie is that when you buy something, you live it and you keep it.
Which may not be the smartest thing to do financially. A lot of people are like, why do you don't fall in love with real estate? You need to, to move it, to capture it. But we've fallen in love with the areas we're in.
Right.
And, the Stadium District as an example, we want to do 5 to 10 to 15 more developments there. Why sell most of our assets there, not knowing how they're going to be kept if we're going to start doing new buildings around it, and new things around it? Let's keep the quality up. Let's keep the energy up and the brand up. For as long as we can, until it really gets humming.
Yep.
So if we were to sell off and to flip it, I think we would lose some of that credibility in the marketplace and control of the product.
Right. No, it's totally understandable. So for those who know Lansing, and I think a lot of my listeners do, you've obviously got the Lugnuts ballpark, right? Jackson Field, right? So across the street, you've got the original Stadium District building. That's the big brick building that's got the chamber and, the Choose Lansing and Sidecar and Big B and some of the other great tenants that you have on there, plus a bunch of apartments on top. But you then mentioned right next door to that, you've got the Meijer, the Capital City Market and the courtyard and the apartments there. But there's, and then Marketplace apartments that are riverfront, on the side by the ballpark too. And Lansing Brewing Company had your name for a long time. So you talk about like this ecosystem and you create your own density of entertainment and business and residential. But there's another chapter that's kind of coming soon. Can you talk a little bit about the energy and the things I'm hearing in the news about the Mission?
Yeah. So, with all of the new projects we've done in the Stadium District, well over $100 million worth of development, office, retail, housing, we're starting to we looked at our portfolio a couple of weeks ago and we didn't notice how many old buildings we have, over 100 years old. And, we think of ourselves as new developers and we're building new buildings. We have over 6 buildings right now, or 7, I think, in Lansing that are over 100 years old. Between a 120-year-old train station to a couple of other little buildings downtown, some down Michigan Avenue, a couple of houses that are 110 years old.
The Armory?
The Armory is 101 years old. So it's fun to bring some of these back to life that have great bones and great history. So with great bones and great history, right across from the Capital City Market is the City Rescue Mission that's been there for 50 or 60 years. And there's a whole city block there that exists. A great restaurant in Batter Up Bistro.
I love that place.
Cam Nass has a great shop there. There's a great tattoo shop. There's a brand new condo where the old Rum Runners used to be. So it's a block that really has some great stuff. With the City Rescue Mission moving to their new building on Kalamazoo in about, I think, 3 to 4 weeks, sometime this summer.
Yep.
We're looking to purchase the 6 buildings that they own right there. So those storefronts that used to be there in the 1915, 1925, 1940, I think in the 50s is when it stopped being active retail.
Okay.
So they pretty much got rid of the storefronts, the glass storefronts. So we're going to bring back 6 glass storefronts, and we're going to add about 15 to 18 housing units in that building to bring it back to life. And have it be used on a daily basis. What's going to occupy those 6 restaurants or those 6 retail spots? We'd love to have 4 or 5 different little restaurants, kind of like little restaurant row there with a Batter Up Bistro, and there's a hot dog shop there.
Yep.
And then, we've had calls everything from little retail to clothing to yoga to Pilates to yogurt. We feel pretty confident that even in a rough retail market, Michigan Avenue is not thriving for retail because of the smallness of the space, 700 square feet to 1,200 square feet. We're going to find some users that really want to start up, have startups.
Yeah, right.
The apartments we feel real bullish on. And just having the lights turned on there, and we're going to redo the entire face of that block. Hopefully change the rain gardens out front to make it more pedestrian friendly for outdoor dining.
Yep.
But having that whole block re-envisioned, along with the train station that's up and new in the last 36 months here, really, from the train station to the baseball stadium will be a totally different area for pedestrians, safety friendly. We're going to put a lot more exterior lights, both on the front of the building on Michigan Avenue, and then there's a really cool alleyway behind the building.
Oh, I'd never noticed.
Yeah, if you go back there, it's called I think it's called Pierre Marquette Alleyway.
Okay.
And if you've been to Detroit and some of these other areas that have alley parties or alley, they shut it down on Thursday nights for a cool alley get together, whether it's music, the restaurants spill out into the alleyway. It's a social district, so you can have alcohol and walk around, with the right type of cup. Just looking to engage the alleyway and Michigan Avenue to really help gentrify that whole block. Right
on. That's fantastic. And that's coming soon.
Well, we're working with the city of Lansing right now and the MEDC. Senator Anthony's been a big help. We hope to have approvals in late July.
Okay. Excellent. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the great story that the Mission, they're being moved into a much bigger and better facility, 24 hours, both
So
genders.
right now,
is that what I'm hearing?
The Mission has for a long time, housed about 52 men. And they're open from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 the next morning. The new establishment, from what I understand, is going to have almost triple the capacity. And they're going to be open 24 hours a day. And they're going to have a health clinic and other amenities that this one does not have. So
So they're getting a big win. It's not like they're being displaced.
No, they're getting a massive win. And when they told us that they were moving out and they were going to make this move, they said, hey, our building's available. Would you like to, act on it? Owning a lot of the things around it and next to it and having 6 contiguous buildings, we said, we'd be fools not to look at it.
Right.
So to be part of that and to help, the purchase price is going to go towards helping pay for, their new place. We felt like it was a win-win.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, I want to give a nod to one of my sponsors. Here at Michigan Reimagine, we tell the stories of passionate Michiganders doing great things across the state. Today's podcast sponsor takes the art of positive storytelling to a whole new level. The good people at Good Marketing work with organizations across the state that are having a positive impact on the lives of Michigan residents. They help educate communities on the importance of affordable housing, the impact of wildlife and natural resource management, the availability of workforce development and education programs. If it lifts up people and makes communities stronger, then they want to help spread the word. If your organization needs help communicating the good work that you do, stop by their website at goodmarketing.com. That's GUD marketing.com. So, obviously the Stadium District node is very hot in your world, and I love the passion that you put into it. Another area that I hear a lot about on the streets is your interest in the Sears.
Yeah.
We're one of those communities that had a freestanding single story, 200,000 square foot Sears building that has been empty for probably 10 years. And then COVID, I know most people have seen the lines, and Sparrow has done a lot of great work helping people with the drive-through that already existed there. But the question I get asked is, when is that thing going to move? When is Sears going to become something? Talk a little bit about why you picked it and what you think it's going to happen, what you think is going to happen, and what the timeline on that looks like.
You and I were both the number one question I get is, when are you going to do something with Sears? Are you ever going to do something with Sears?
Right.
So
why are you sitting on your hands?
Why are you sitting there doing nothing with Sears? So I don't think they mean it that way, but maybe they do. But we are super excited about that project. To us, it's a no-brainer. Why did we buy it? Our mission has been to develop between MSU's campus and the state capitol, that Michigan Avenue core. We said, man, if we can do 80% of our work in that core, we can really make a difference to both Michigan State, City of Lansing, East Lansing. They all kind of touch each other, Lansing Township in that area. So we bought that building, about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And as you said, 14 acres on the highway, on Michigan Avenue, a couple hundred yards from campus, next to Frandor, which is a retail icon,
right?
Across from, Joel Ferguson's Red Cedar project that was $250 million, right? Skyview that went up.
Yep.
There's over 2,500 student beds within 100 yards of that project. There's, a couple hundred, 500 to 600 conventional beds, 2 hotels, 35 bar restaurants in that little district. So we're really bullish on that 200,000 square foot building. What we're looking at doing right now is waiting until 2026. We're hoping July of 26, FEMA has a new determination of the floodplain in that area. Hopefully it comes through. Right now they're telling us it's on track to lower the floodplain, which is going to make it dramatically easier to build, and we won't have to put the building up on, I don't want to say stilts, but we won't have to raise the building way up.
Right.
So we're going to reuse a lot of the building. We would love at the end of the project to have all of the restaurants that people have craving for. I go to Novi, I go to Detroit, I go to Grand Rapids, I go to different places to get a meal or to go out with folks. We would love to bring those to Lansing along the Michigan Avenue corridor. Is it 7? Is it 10 restaurants? That's what we would like. Would some of them have entertainment? Ideally. Would a couple of them have rooftop venues? Ideally. So we're having really good activity, phone calls. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to follow through and say you can be in that building this date, so they haven't committed.
Yep.
But once we do have real dates, it's going to be interesting to see what users we have. I think you're going to see some users that have never been to Lansing that we've said, man, I wish they were here. They're not all going to be chains. We'd really have some unique restaurateurs in the state of Michigan that are looking for places near a campus, on a highway, on a high visible corridor, with great demographics there.
Right.
And on the backside, we have some big retail spaces that we've had some folks look at that has been, I would call it traditional retail to Lansing. And we've said, no, we're not interested in that right now. We're looking for some different users that haven't been to Lansing or that aren't here yet, that people drive to other spaces to go to. So a mix of retail, a mix of entertainment, and some bar restaurants. We may mix in a hotel and some housing along with it. but it'll probably, when it's done, probably be close to $75 million to $100 million redevelopment. That store's over 75 years old. It's a big facility with lots of visibility. So we are super excited about that project. I mean, most people over the age of, 35 or 40 had been to Sears many times in their life.
Yep.
That's where you bought your jeans. That's where you bought your lawnmowers, your paint, name it, your TVs. That's where you bought everything. My grandpa was the salesman there, sold appliances there. Pretty much went there to buy every ounce of clothes I think I ever had through, grade school and middle school. So it's an icon in a lot of people's minds here in Lansing. And I just think it'll be, that's why so many people are asking about it. Because many people have been in the building and they're interested to see what it will be.
And I can't wait. So I moved from a subdivision into that little neighborhood just east of there, and absolutely love the walkability. And we walk past Sears to go to some of the stuff in Frandor and some of the restaurants that are nearby that you mentioned. And as an economic developer, I paid close attention to Ferguson's Red Cedar project and understood the origins of it and how long it took for them to do that. And a huge part of that was the drain commissioner completely reworking what is kind of considered to be a park or a big grass hill. But if you walk it now, it is a full trail system with all the waterfalls and little, all that kind of stuff, which should be a show in its own right. I've actually talked about having the people who engineered that to talk a little bit more about how that ecosystem works. But I think the result is this redrawn flood map, right? That you're trying to get found out. If people in the region have gone to the Secretary of State office at what they call Frandor Plus at one little annex, saying everyone knows you have to walk up those steps or go up that ramp to get into that building. It's 8 or 10 feet high. And the reason for that is that's how high the floor needs to be out of the flood.
Perfect analogy. That's what we would have to do.
You would have to do that with the Sears.
Not quite that high.
Right.
But pretty much almost that high.
Because you're using the map that used to be, and they're re-looking at what the impact of that major drain refurbishment or refitting is.
Not so much.
Changing the water?
Not so much that. No, they reshot the riverbed and the elevations all the way from Fowlerville, all the way through Lansing, all the way through Lansing Township, all the way through Welberville, Williamston, and they reshot to have accurate markings. That new detention pond that's holding a lot of the Red Cedar and Frandor really didn't help the floodplain map at all. So the floodplain map is going to change a lot more than Frandor. It's going to change all over our whole region.
Okay.
Okemos, East Lansing, Lansing Township, downtown. The floodplain's coming down. And the flood, some areas are going to be taken out of the floodway, which is really hard.
Right.
So it's a pretty, it's been about a 6-year process for that to go on, which is, and it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
So that was a small part of it. I think Mr. Lindeman did a great job with those parks and that lake, and hopefully an amphitheater I think is coming. But those little parks are going to be fantastic. When we have the Sears building redeveloped, we're going to try to push our pedestrians over to use that, and then come get ice cream. Put our pedestrians go to walk that, and then come get rooftop dining. We'd like to use that as an amenity for this development, and to push people more towards the park.
Got it. And so that you think will get hopefully green lit this time next year.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yep.
We are itching to get at this, not only because of the questions we get, but this isn't, it's less than a mile from our office, and we all drive by it, 5 times a day. And when your sign's on it, nothing's happening. You're like, come on, let's get going. Plus the activity we've had, it's not like we're sitting there going, boy, no one's calling. There's a lot of calls. We just can't take action.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense. So hopefully it'll be slow and right instead of fast and wrong.
That's what we're counting on.
You could have pulled the trigger years ago, and it would have been a worse design than it will be, hopefully, in the future. Well, I want to give a shout to my friends at Triterra. Triterra is a leading environmental consulting firm headquartered in Lansing, Michigan, with staff around the state to serve your brownfield redevelopment, environmental consulting, and natural resource management needs. Since 2008, Triterra has been successfully advising a wide range of organizations to implement solutions to complex environmental challenges. If you're a business, a developer, a property owner, a lending institution, an attorney, or a governmental entity looking for a solution and you want prompt and timely service, do not hesitate to contact my friends at Triterra. Led by CEO and visionary Don McNabb, JP Buckingham, and Dave Van Haren, and supported by dozens of technical experts, you can't miss by calling Triterra at 517-702-0470 or visit them at triterra.us. All right. So there was some news, and I know it's slow moving, but MSU has a project or a dream about a section of their campus that is underutilized. And there's some discussion about a new arena and some other things. What are you able to share? I know it's early days, but what's been discussed and, where do you think things are headed?
Yeah, a project we're super excited about. It's on the corner of Trowbridge and Harrison Roads. If you can imagine that, I would say just south of Breslin Center is probably the easiest way to describe it. It's a 14-acre site on campus. It's been called, tagged kind of the Gateway project because it's going to be the new southern gateway into campus. The new Trowbridge exit is going to open here soon, and we think that's going to dump a lot of folks onto campus from that direction that have never come in from that direction. So that 14 acres, we're calling it's a P3 development. What is a P3? Public-private partnership. So that means there's a lot of private money going in, private money being us and our partners. Gillespie Group and a company called Goldenrod have teamed up to come up with a schematic design of a mixed-use gateway project. It calls for a new arena, 6,000-person arena that would house Olympic sports. Women's volleyball, men's wrestling, along with concerts from Live Nation, graduations, Michigan High School Athletic Association state championships, hopefully up to 200 events a year.
Nice.
200 days a year full would be an active facility. Most of them aren't that active.
Right.
Next to that, we'd like to put a campus hotel in, a new campus hotel. Would the Kellogg Center still stay? Probably. It would just be a different venue than this one. This would be new rooftop dining, different restaurants in it, a little higher end and brand new with today's amenities. Along with that, we're looking at putting in about 100 to 120 residential units, apartments, conventional. They're not student apartments. So mostly conventional for, it could be FRIB workers, could be alumni, it could be just people in the community that want to live on campus and walk to Wharton Center, visiting professors.
Right on, yeah.
And then it's got retail, about 40 to 50,000 square foot of retail. And people are like, well, who would want to be there? The MSU ice cream store would be a great target. A couple of other restaurants, dining establishments, some geared towards the community and some geared towards the 55,000 students that are, right there, that would want to use it. Could be coffee shops, could be Pilates, could be Apple Store, could be Lululemon, could be, all kinds of different venues that would draw people there.
Right.
And then the last part would be about 50,000 square foot of office on top of the retail. Who would be there? There's different alumni folks that are graduates that have started major corporations around the country. And who wouldn't want to have a 5,000 square foot mini headquarters on Michigan State's campus with your sign, prevalent.
Interns,
hiring 10 to 15 interns a year. We haven't even started marketing that, but we've reached out to probably 5 to 7 different companies, and we have not had a no. We've had a, why can I only have 5,000 square feet?
Well, so we're going
to try to restrict them to 10 different users, 5,000 square foot apiece, so that we can get different industries, everything from mortgage to insurance to automotive to brokerage or financial investment, so that they can use different departments at Michigan State and hire different types of students.
Right. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So we're excited. Still a lot of work to do. We're working with Michigan State. They really haven't done a lot of P3 developments, especially on their exact campus. So some challenges there that we're all working through, some, first time opportunities for both them and us. And hopefully we can get to the end there because if so, I think it could really have a dynamic impact on that part of campus.
Absolutely. Because the other side of campus, just in my time, again, I've shared, how long I've been here, but I'll tell you, Grand River Ave, went from kind of 1975 to maybe 2015 or 2020 today. I mean, you have people come back who haven't been here for 5 years and they're like, what did they do to my town?
Yeah.
But now it looks like a real Big Ten university. And in my opinion, I mean, the campus itself is beautiful, but the coattail developments and housing options and the store qualities and some of those kinds of things have really beefed up in the last 10 years. And I think that other side by Trowbridge, a little sleepy over there. There's the foundation of that. But I think that this, the whole high rises raises all ships. I think, this development would have coattail effects of its own right.
I think you're spot on. That's exactly. Just like downtown East Lansing is morphed, I think this would morph that part of campus.
Right. Fantastic. Well, Pat, I really appreciate you coming on board, and I get energized every time I hear you speak, and I hear you speak regularly, and I hear other people. And what I love about your style is that it's not just about the Gillespie named projects. It's every developer has a right to develop, and everything helps everything else, and you applaud other people for doing what they're doing, and there's opportunity to collaborate and partner, and just everybody wins.
Yes.
Which is great. How can people learn more about Gillespie Group, and maybe you guys are hiring?
We're always looking for great teammates. GillespieGroup.com is our website, but we're live on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. What those handles are, I don't know, but I'm sure if you go to our website,
Gillespie Group, absolutely.
Gillespie Group.
LinkedIn is a great place to follow you too. You got good news on there.
Yep, LinkedIn. But anyone that ever has a great idea, or even an idea about what we should be doing somewhere, we would love to hear it. We'll follow up on it and see if we can, make a difference in whatever community the idea is in.
Fantastic. We've been talking to President and Founder and CEO of the Gillespie Group, Pat Gillespie. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for the opportunity, Chris.
Absolutely. And I'd love to give a final shout out to all my loyal sponsors: Wagoner Financial, Good Marketing, Triterra Environmental, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, Kirk Byron State Farm, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. All fantastic people worth the call. And if you found this show as a one-off, I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off from Michigan Reimagined.